確かに一見バラ。しかしよく見れば
花一輪一輪がタルト生地に乗せられている。
このバラこそがリンゴで作られたスイーツなのですね。
Hello, I'm Darren, and welcome to my third YouTube video from my recipe development series. Today I have a Valentine's Day project, inspired by one of my favorite anime, Food Wars. For this project, I took inspiration from both this anime as well as Garten's French Apple Tart recipe. I followed a lot of the steps outlined in the anime as you will see. First, I start by making the dough. Here I have flour, a bit of sugar, and a pinch of salt in a food processor. I blend these together, then I add butter that I had cut into pieces. After running the blade until the butter is thoroughly mixed, I add some ice water little by little, just enough so that the dough can form. Then I take the dough and roll it into a ball. After, I will put it in the refrigerator and let it chill for at least an hour. While it's chilling, I'll prepare the apples. Here I'm using Granny Smith apples for a bit of tartness. I'm taking the core out and peeling the apple. Then I chop it into thin slices that will become the petals of the rose. As an amateur home cook, I don't really have that great of knife skills, so it took a while to chop these apples. As you see here, I'm chopping so that there will be uneven sizes as you go along the apple. This will be helpful later on as I will explain. Next, I will make the rose water for the apples to soak in. I used to mask rose as they do in the anime. I put it on low heat and let the water absorb the rose essence. I put just a small amount of sugar because I personally don't like a sugary taste. After a while, I strain out the rose buds and add the red food coloring in addition to the apples into the rose infused water. Like the anime, I don't boil the apples. I just put them on very low heat so that it slowly softens as it absorbs the rose flavor. It's like if you were taking a warm bath in rose water. Now that the dough has chilled, I will now roll it into small pie crusts. I'm rolling the dough until it's slightly transparent. I found this is the right thickness to allow for a delicate crust. Any more and it would feel like eating a biscuit. Rolling dough into an even thickness can be quite challenging, especially since I have little experience with dough. I haven't quite perfected this, as you'll see the unevenness. I cut the dough to a size where there is plenty of dough that falls over the edge of the tin. Having the excess makes it so it doesn't get too shrunken when it's baking. It's hard to roll it out evenly and distribute it around the pie tin evenly as well. Maybe in a future video I'll have gained more skill in pastry making, and then I can revisit and perfect the process. I also put on some egg wash so it will develop a nice golden color in the oven. Just between us, you don't want to know how many of these crusts I made on the day of filming because they got too shrunken or the crust was too uneven after baking. Later on, you'll see some crusts, and they were the ones that turned out the best. It's just the magic of the set production, if you will. Now I'm about to put these in the oven. I put some pie weights so they don't puff up while baking. The oven was preheated to 400 degrees Fahrenheit and they cook for about 15 to 17 minutes. A moment later, the apples have cooled down enough to work with now, and I'm transferring them to a plate. I start looking for a smaller piece. Remember when I mentioned different sizes of apple slices? The small slice will be the center of the rose. I layer bigger and bigger slices on top of it until I have about 9 or 10 slices. Then I brush on some apricot preserves that I thinned out with a bit of water, both on the pastry which is ready now, as well as the apples. After, I roll up the apples carefully and tightly. I then transfer the rose-shaped apple clump to the pastry and start spreading it out carefully so that it resembles the flower. This was probably the most time-consuming part because to get it done well, I've had to redo it and maybe add an apple slice here or there to fill up an empty space. One of these days I'll figure out a better way and I'll work that into that revamped video I was talking about before. Notice how my fingers are quite red from all the food coloring? Thankfully it washed out pretty easily. Now to assemble a few more. Did you know I put this on 8 times the speed and cut out some of the parts? Yeah, that's how time consuming this can be. We're almost at the end product. If you enjoyed my video so far, please like, comment, subscribe, and share my video. I really love to make interesting and delicious food and share it with people. I want to know what kinds of food you all would want to see me make. I have a lot of ideas and I can't wait to share them. Okay, the final reveal. To be honest, I wish they looked better because this one has a crack, but the rest of it looks great. I can always come back to this recipe again and update it with better methods. Here's me pretending I didn't try it several times already during the filming process. Just look how crumbly the crust gets. Well, thanks for watching everyone. Hope to see you in my next video. Bye!